Hello, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad you stopped by. This is a place for those who love spine-chilling stories, eerie locations, and the thrill of the unknown. Whether you're a seasoned paranormal enthusiast or just someone curious about what lies beyond the veil, I've got something special in store for you today. We're diving deep into the heart of one of the most terrifying natural settings in the United States, a location that has become infamous for its dark history, unexplained phenomena, and chilling encounters with the other side. Today, we begin our journey through the most haunted lakes in the U.S., an exploration of bodies of water where legends whisper across the wind and shadows stretch far beyond the reach of the moonlight. From tragic drownings to ghostly apparitions rising from the depths, these lakes have long been shrouded in mystery. Some say they are cursed, while others believe they sit atop ancient burial grounds where restless spirits refuse to rest. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: these places are not for the faint of heart. So, if you're ready to face the unknown, grab your flashlight, settle in, and let's begin our journey into the depths of America's most haunted lakes. The origins of fear, tragedy, mystery, and the supernatural haunted lakes have long captivated the human imagination, their still waters concealing secrets that defy explanation. Across the United States, countless bodies of water have gained reputations as sites of supernatural activity, each with its own unique blend of tragedy, folklore, and inexplicable occurrences. While some lakes are known for eerie sightings of spectral figures emerging from the mist, others are associated with voices carried on the wind or sudden temperature drops that leave visitors with an overwhelming sense of dread. These legends often stem from real historical events, drownings, disappearances, and unsolved murders that have taken on a life of their own over time. In many cases, local myths evolve alongside documented accounts, blurring the line between fact and fiction and leaving behind a legacy of fear that endures for generations. One of the primary reasons lakes become associated with hauntings is their association with death. Water, in all its forms, holds a powerful symbolic presence in human culture, both as a source of life and as a harbinger of destruction. Drowning is among the most feared and unsettling ways to die, and when such tragedies occur in isolated or remote locations, they often give rise to ghost stories. Victims who perished in these waters are believed to remain tethered to them, unable to move on due to unfinished business or the sheer horror of their final moments. Some legends tell of spirits who lure unsuspecting swimmers into the depths, while others describe mournful figures seen wandering along the shoreline, forever searching for something, or someone, they lost in life. Beyond personal tragedies, some lakes have been linked to darker histories, including mass casualties, ancient rituals, and even alleged portals to other dimensions. Certain indigenous communities speak of sacred waters where ancestral spirits reside, warning against disturbing the balance of nature. Others recount tales of hidden cemeteries submerged beneath the surface, where the dead were laid to rest only to be forgotten as time passed. In more recent history, urban legends have grown around lakes where crimes went unsolved, leading locals to speculate that the victims' souls linger in search of justice or closure. Whether rooted in reality or born from the fertile imaginations of frightened witnesses, these stories contribute to the aura of mystery that surrounds these haunted waters. As we explore the most haunted lakes in the United States, it becomes clear that each location carries its own unique blend of history, myth, and terror. Some lakes have drawn the attention of paranormal investigators, and even fleeting glimpses of apparitions reflected on the water's surface. Others remain untouched by modern technology, their legends passed down orally from generation to generation, growing more elaborate with each retelling. Regardless of whether these hauntings stem from residual energy imprinted on the land or something far more sinister, one thing remains undeniable: those who visit these lakes often leave changed, carrying with them the weight of the unknown. Lake Lanier, the blood-drenched waters of Georgia, among the most infamous haunted lakes in the United States. Lake Lanier in Georgia stands out not only for its breathtaking beauty but also for its harrowing history of death, violence, and unexplained phenomena. Spanning nearly 40,000 acres, this sprawling reservoir was created in the 1950s when the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers flooded the surrounding valleys to form a man-made lake designed to serve multiple purposes, including flood control, hydroelectric power, and recreation. However, beneath its tranquil surface lies a dark past, one steeped in tragedy and whispers of the supernatural that continue to haunt those who dare to enter its waters. Before Lake Lanier existed, the land was home to several small towns and communities, including the historic town of Oscarville. According to local lore, before the valley was flooded, a brutal racial purge took place in the early 20th century, during which black residents were forcibly driven out under violent circumstances. Some accounts suggest that those who resisted were lynched, their bodies buried in unmarked graves that now lie beneath the lake. Though historians debate the accuracy of these claims, the legend persists, fueling speculation that the spirits of those who suffered unjust deaths remain trapped beneath the surface, their sorrow and rage manifesting in strange and terrifying ways. Over the decades, Lake Lanier has gained a grim reputation for an unusually high number of drowning incidents. Statistically, it ranks among the deadliest lakes in the country, with numerous reports of swimmers vanishing without a trace, boats mysteriously capsizing, and divers encountering inexplicable forces pulling them downward. Locals and park officials attribute some of these incidents to strong underwater currents and deceptively calm waters that hide dangerous drop-offs, but others believe something far more sinister lurks beneath the surface. Visitors and paranormal investigators alike have reported eerie experiences at Lake Lanier, describing feelings of unease, sudden temperature drops, and disembodied voices calling out from the water. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures standing on the shore late at night, watching silently before vanishing into the darkness. Others speak of ghostly apparitions rising from the lake itself, appearing as pale, translucent figures drifting just above the water before disappearing into thin air. One particularly chilling account comes from a group of campers who claim to hear a woman sobbing in the distance despite being alone in the area. When they followed the sound, they found themselves drawn toward the lake's edge, where the cries grew louder, only to stop abruptly as soon as they reached the shoreline. Paranormal researchers have conducted multiple investigations at Lake Lanier, capturing strange anomalies that defy logical explanation. Some investigators believe the lake is a hotbed for residual hauntings, repetitive manifestations of past trauma imprinted onto the environment, while others speculate that the lake acts as a portal to another realm, where lost souls remain trapped in an endless cycle of suffering. Whether Lake Lanier's haunted reputation stems from historical injustice, psychological suggestion, or something truly supernatural remains a subject of debate. What is undeniable, however, is that the lake continues to draw both curiosity and fear, its dark waters concealing mysteries that may never be fully uncovered. Lost in the depths. The vanishing of Tammy Jo Alexander. While Lake Lanier's haunting reputation is built upon decades of tragedy and unexplained phenomena, few stories are as chilling, or as deeply disturbing, as the case of Tammy Jo Alexander. Her disappearance in 1979 not only left a lasting mark on the region but also contributed to the lake's ominous reputation as a place where people vanish without a trace. Tammy Jo was a 16-year-old girl from Caledonia, New York, who was last seen alive on October 28, 1979, after attending a football game at nearby Livonia Central School. She had planned to meet up with friends later that evening but never arrived. Over the following weeks, extensive searches were conducted, and her name spread across local news outlets, but no sign of her was ever found, until decades later, when her story took a haunting turn. In 2010, a fisherman casting his line near Kissimmee River State Park, located just south of Lake Lanier, made a grim discovery: human skeletal remains partially buried in the soft riverbank soil. Forensic analysis confirmed that the bones belonged to a teenage girl, and DNA testing eventually identified her as Tammy Jo Alexander. The discovery reignited interest in her case, raising more questions than answers. How had she ended up so far from home? Had she hitchhiked or boarded a vehicle with someone she trusted, only to meet a terrible fate? And perhaps most unsettling, had her body been hidden somewhere else before being moved to the Kissimmee River years later? What makes this case even more unsettling is the belief held by many locals that Tammy Jo's spirit lingers near Lake Lanier, forever searching for peace. Visitors to the area have reported seeing a young girl wandering the shoreline late at night, her figure barely visible in the dim moonlight before vanishing into the trees. Others claim to have heard a soft voice calling out from the water, repeating the name, Tammy, in a desperate plea for help. Though law enforcement agencies have pursued various leads over the years, the case remains officially unsolved. No arrests have ever been made, and no definitive motive has been established. Some believe that whoever was responsible for Tammy Jo's death may have ties to a string of other missing persons cases linked to the Lake Lanier region, further reinforcing the idea that the lake is more than just a recreational destination. It is a place where lives are lost, and justice remains elusive. For those who visit Lake Lanier, Tammy Jo's story serves as a sobering reminder that the lake's haunted reputation is not merely the result of ghost stories and urban legends. It is built upon real-life tragedies, events that have left scars on the land and echoes that may never fade. Whether her spirit truly wanders the shores, searching for closure, or whether these experiences are simply the product of collective grief and fear, one thing is certain: Tammy Jo Alexander's disappearance has become an inseparable part of Lake Lanier's dark and enduring legacy. Echoes of the past, the phantom rowboat of Lake Michigan. Among the many haunted lakes in the United States, Lake Michigan holds a particularly eerie distinction, one that revolves around a mysterious rowboat that has appeared and vanished without explanation for decades. Known as the Phantom Rowboat, this eerie vessel has been spotted by fishermen, boaters, and even commercial ships navigating the vast expanse of the lake. Witnesses describe seeing an old wooden rowboat floating aimlessly in the open water, seemingly abandoned yet always just out of reach. Attempts to approach the boat have reportedly ended in failure. The moment a rescuer tries to get close, the boat vanishes, as if swallowed by the lake itself. The legend of the phantom rowboat dates back to the early 20th century, though accounts vary depending on who tells the story. One popular version traces its origins to a tragic event in 1921, when a group of teenagers from Chicago decided to take a weekend trip to the lake. According to local lore, the group rented a small rowboat and set off across the water, unaware of an approaching storm. By nightfall, a fierce gale had rolled in, capsizing their boat and sending all aboard into the icy depths. Search parties scoured the lake for days, but no bodies were ever recovered. Survivors of the incident claimed that in the days following the tragedy, they saw a lone rowboat drifting near the shore, rocking gently in the waves despite the absence of any oars or passengers. Since then, reports of the phantom rowboat have persisted, with sightings spanning generations. Some claim to have seen the silhouettes of figures sitting inside the boat, staring blankly ahead as if frozen in time. Others report hearing faint voices calling out from the vessel, though no words are ever decipherable. In one particularly chilling account from the 1970s, a commercial fishing crew reported spotting the boat in the early hours of the morning. As they approached, hoping to investigate, the boat suddenly tilted sideways and disappeared beneath the surface, leaving behind only ripples in the water. When they returned to the same spot minutes later, there was no sign of the vessel, no wreckage, no debris, nothing. Some paranormal researchers believe that the phantom rowboat is a form of residual haunting, a recurring manifestation of the lake's tragic past imprinted onto the environment. They argue that the intense emotions experienced by the doomed passengers, fear, desperation, and the final moments of struggle, may have somehow left an imprint on the lake, causing the scene to replay itself under specific conditions. Others speculate that the phenomenon could be connected to ley lines or interdimensional activity, suggesting that the boat may be a gateway between worlds rather than a mere illusion. Regardless of the theory, one thing remains certain: the phantom rowboat of Lake Michigan continues to defy explanation. For those who have encountered it firsthand, the experience is unforgettable, an eerie reminder that some mysteries of the deep may never be solved. The curse of Loch Raven Reservoir. Legends beneath the surface. Nestled in the rolling hills of Maryland, Loch Raven Reservoir stands as a vital water source for the city of Baltimore, supplying millions of gallons of drinking water each day. But beneath its serene surface lies a history steeped in tragedy and whispered legends that have earned it a place among the most haunted lakes in the United States. Originally constructed in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the reservoir was formed by flooding several small villages and farmlands, submerging entire communities beneath its depths. Among the lost settlements was the town of Blandonsburg, a once thriving community whose residents were forced to abandon their homes when construction began. Local folklore suggests that not everyone left willingly. Some refused to evacuate, choosing instead to stay behind, only to be drowned when the waters rose. According to legend, the displaced townspeople placed a curse on the reservoir, vowing that those who dared to disturb their resting place would suffer the same fate. Over the years, Loch Raven has been the site of numerous unexplained drownings, disappearances, and eerie encounters that lend credence to the tale. Fishermen claim to have seen shadowy figures beneath the water's surface, watching them from below, while swimmers have reported feeling unseen hands pulling them downward, dragging them toward the depths. Some say that on foggy nights, faint lights can be seen flickering beneath the lake's surface, glowing orbs that resemble lanterns, bobbing gently in the dark waters as if guiding lost souls to the afterlife. One of the most chilling accounts comes from a group of teenagers who, in the summer of 1987, decided to sneak into the restricted areas of the reservoir after dark. Armed with flashlights and a portable radio, they wandered along the shoreline, joking about the curse and daring each other to swim farther out. Suddenly, one of the boys screamed and pointed toward the water. There, floating just a few feet away, was an old wooden rowboat, its paint peeling and its hull covered in algae. At first, they assumed it was abandoned, but as they watched, the boat slowly drifted closer, pulled forward by an unseen force. Then, without warning, the boat turned sharply and vanished beneath the surface, leaving behind only ripples in the water. Terrified, the group fled the area, swearing never to return. Years later, one of the boys, who had since become a paranormal investigator, returned to Loch Raven with a team of researchers. Using sonar equipment, they scanned the lake bed and discovered an anomaly, a structure resembling a sunken house, complete with remnants of furniture and personal belongings. Some speculated that it was the remains of Blandensburg, proving that the town had indeed been consumed by the reservoir. Others, however, believed it to be something far more sinister, a graveyard for those who had defied the curse, trapped beneath the water forever. Whether the legends of Loch Raven are based in historical fact or mere superstition, one thing remains undeniable: the reservoir continues to hold its secrets beneath the surface, waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to seek the truth. Determined to uncover the truth behind America's most haunted lakes, numerous paranormal investigation teams have ventured into these eerie waters, armed with state-of-the-art equipment and an unwavering resolve to document whatever might be lurking beneath the surface. At approximately 2:37 a.m., the footage showed a humanoid-shaped anomaly emerging from the water, moving slowly toward the center of the clearing before abruptly vanishing. What made this sighting particularly unsettling was that no visible figure appeared on the standard video feed. The entity was only detectable through thermal imaging, suggesting it either lacked a physical form or existed in a state beyond normal perception. The investigators, visibly shaken, attempted to communicate using a digital voice recorder, asking, "Who are you? Why are you here?" Moments later, one of their handheld meters spiked into the red zone, registering an unusually high reading. Simultaneously, the audio recorder picked up a distorted whisper stating, "They took me. I can't leave." In addition to visual and auditory anomalies, the team documented multiple instances of unexplained cold spots throughout the lake's surroundings. Using thermometers and thermal cameras, they recorded drastic temperature drops in specific areas, sometimes plummeting by as much as 20 degrees within seconds. These cold zones were concentrated near the eastern section of the lake, where local legends speak of a hidden cave system that was supposedly sealed off decades ago. Some speculate that this underground network may be linked to the disappearances reported over the years, serving as a labyrinthine prison for those who ventured too far. Another harrowing encounter was experienced by a solo investigator who set up camp near the remnants of an old stone bench believed to be part of Thomas Whitmore's original ranch near Loch Raven Reservoir. He described waking in the middle of the night to the sound of rhythmic tapping against the wooden frame of his tent. Upon stepping outside with a flashlight, he found no sign of the noise's origin, only a faint trail of footprints leading into the dense underbrush. Assuming it was an animal, he returned to his tent, only to hear a soft voice whispering his name from just beyond the fabric walls. Petrified, he remained frozen in place until dawn, when he hastily packed his gear and left the area, vowing never to return. The psychological effects of visiting America's most haunted lakes extend far beyond the immediate sensations of fear and unease. For many who have explored their depths, the experience leaves lasting impressions that manifest in anxiety, sleep disturbances, and even paranoia long after they've left the water's edge. Psychologists and paranormal researchers alike have studied the impact of such environments on the human mind, seeking to understand why certain locations evoke such profound emotional responses. Some attribute these reactions to the power of suggestion. If a person enters a place expecting to encounter something supernatural, their brain becomes hyper-aware of every creak, whisper, or flicker of movement, interpreting them as signs of an unseen presence. Others propose that the lake's eerie atmosphere triggers primal instincts, activating the fight-or-flight response as the subconscious perceives an unknown threat lurking beneath the surface. Intrusive thoughts, and an overwhelming sense of dread upon returning to the site. Some claim they have developed insomnia, plagued by nightmares that mirror their experiences in the water, visions of shadowy figures watching from the shoreline, disembodied voices calling out their names, and the sensation of an unseen force pulling them deeper into the lake. Others have spoken of an inexplicable compulsion to return, as if drawn by something beyond their control, despite knowing the risks involved. One particularly unsettling case involved a group of college students who ventured to Loch Raven Reservoir for a late-night challenge. They claimed to have heard a child's laughter echoing through the trees, only to turn and find no one nearby. Days later, one of the students began experiencing hallucinations. He reported seeing a small figure darting through his peripheral vision, vanishing the moment he turned to look. His mental health deteriorated rapidly, leading to hospitalization and months of therapy. While doctors attributed his condition to heightened stress and sensory deprivation, he remained convinced that something had followed him home, lingering just beyond the reach of sight. These psychological effects raise important questions about the nature of fear and the way the human mind processes the unknown. Whether the lake's haunting is purely psychological or influenced by something beyond scientific understanding, one thing remains certain: those who enter their depths often leave changed, carrying the weight of their experiences long after they've stepped back onto solid ground. The cultural significance of haunted lakes, folklore, media, and urban legend beyond their reputations as hotspots for paranormal activity. America's most haunted lakes have taken on a life of their own within local folklore, media coverage, and urban legend. Over the years, these bodies of water have become symbols of fear and mystery, inspiring countless horror stories, documentaries, and even fictionalized accounts in literature and film. Their presence in pop culture has only fueled the intrigue surrounding them, drawing both skeptics and believers who hope to uncover the truth behind the myths. Local news outlets have covered these lakes extensively, often highlighting unsolved disappearances, strange occurrences, and eyewitness testimonies that add to their enigmatic allure. In the 1990s, a regional television station aired a documentary titled Shadows Beneath the Surface, which featured interviews with former residents, paranormal investigators, and even law enforcement officers who had responded to calls regarding suspicious activity near Lake Lanier. The documentary included grainy footage allegedly showing shadowy figures moving between the trees, as well as audio recordings of eerie whispers that sent chills down the spines of viewers. Though skeptics dismissed the content as poorly edited hoaxes, the documentary sparked renewed interest in the lake, prompting a surge of nighttime visits from thrill-seekers eager to test the legends for themselves. Literature has also played a significant role in cementing these lakes' status as cultural phenomena. Several horror novels have drawn inspiration from their eerie reputations, weaving fictional narratives around real-life events and reported hauntings. One particularly popular book, Echoes of the Deep, blends documented paranormal investigations with creative storytelling, portraying Loch Raven Reservoir as a gateway to another realm where lost souls are trapped in an endless cycle of torment. The novel's success led to a limited-run podcast series that reenacted the events described in the book, blending real interview clips with dramatized retellings that blurred the lines between fiction and reality. The internet has further amplified the mystique of these lakes, with forums, YouTube videos, and social media pages dedicated to sharing personal experiences and investigating their haunted reputations. Urban explorers frequently upload footage of their nighttime excursions, capturing everything from strange lights flickering in the distance to unexplained sounds that defy logical explanation. Some of these videos have gone viral, attracting millions of views and sparking debates about whether these lakes truly harbor something supernatural, or if the collective belief in their haunting has created a self-perpetuating cycle of fear. Despite the commercialization of their legends, these lakes remain deeply unsettling places for those who visit. Whether it is the power of suggestion, the influence of local folklore, or something far more inexplicable, one thing is certain: America's most haunted lakes continue to capture the imagination of those who dare to explore their shadowy depths. Facing the unknown, personal stories from those who survived the lakes. For those who have experienced the horrors of America's most haunted lakes firsthand, the memories remain vivid, unsettling, and impossible to forget. Countless individuals have come forward over the years, recounting their encounters with the unknown, some hesitant to speak, fearing ridicule, while others share their stories in hopes of finding validation or understanding. These personal accounts paint a chilling picture of places where reality bends, time distorts, and the veil between the living and the dead feels perilously thin. One such account comes from Sarah Mitchell, a nurse who visited Lake Lanier with a group of friends in the summer of 2018. She described how the evening started innocently enough, with laughter and casual conversation as they wandered along the well-lit trails. However, as they ventured deeper into the park surrounding the lake, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. "It felt like the air got heavier," she recalled. "We couldn't explain it, but we all stopped talking at the same time, like we were afraid to make a sound." As they reached a secluded clearing near the water's edge, Sarah noticed something odd. Her phone, which had been fully charged, suddenly died, along with her friend's flashlight. "That's when we saw it," she whispered. "A figure standing at the edge of the clearing. It wasn't moving, just staring at us." The group stood frozen, paralyzed by fear, as they tried to determine whether the figure was real or merely a trick of the dim lighting. "It looked human, but wrong," Sarah explained. "Its arms were too long, and its head was tilted at an unnatural angle." Before anyone could react, the figure vanished into the trees as quickly as it had appeared. Shaken, the group hurried back toward the main path, only to realize they had somehow ended up in a completely different part of the lake's surroundings, one they hadn't passed through on their way in. "We didn't know how we got there," she admitted. "It was like the lake itself moved around us." The enduring mystery of America's most haunted lakes. As we bring this chilling journey to a close, one thing remains abundantly clear: America's most haunted lakes are more than just places of eerie encounters and whispered legends. They are places where history, mystery, and the unknown intertwine, leaving an indelible mark on all who dare to explore their depths. From the unsettling reports of shadowy figures lurking near the shoreline to the inexplicable voices that seem to call out from the water, these lakes continue to defy explanation, drawing in those who seek answers and leaving them with more questions than they arrived with. Whether you believe in the supernatural or prefer to attribute these experiences to psychological suggestion, environmental factors, or even urban myth, the sheer number of consistent reports from credible witnesses makes it difficult to dismiss these lakes' haunted reputations outright. The personal accounts of those who have faced the unknown within their surroundings are too numerous and too similar to be ignored. Something lingers in the waters of America's most haunted lakes, whether it be the restless spirits of the past, residual imprints of trauma, or something far beyond our understanding remains a mystery. If you've enjoyed this exploration of one of the most terrifying natural settings in the United States, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss another spine-chilling story. Whether you're a believer in the paranormal or simply fascinated by the power of fear and folklore, there's always more to uncover in the world of the unknown. Until next time, stay curious, stay brave, and remember, sometimes the scariest places are the ones that exist just beyond the reach of the light.